Please ignore the towel on my head. I thought we would sort out my new photo album together whilst we talk about, to be honest, the realities of being in the performing arts industry. But we've just got to get in first. Oh, there we go. Strumming. This is a 300 photo album that I got on Amazon. I don't really like shopping on Amazon, but hey ho. Cute little photograph of a couple. Lovely stuff. I have no idea what's going on here, to be honest. I thought we'd been to Lou already by then. Gotta figure out the dates of what's going on. I think these are all in order. Who knows? That's a night out that we did. See pineapple again. I went swimming when my car hands. We went to the Peak District, that's what that is. Then we took practice headshots, that's August, that's the Peak District again. Peak District. Some baking, we're at the gym. Stunning, right. Yeah, so essentially, the reality of being in musical theatre is that 95% of the time, you don't actually work in musical theatre. For example, I currently have about 6 different streams of income, none of which are the performing arts. I graduated last, when did I graduate? Last September, well I graduated in May, but I finished uni last September. I was actually on holiday when my final deadline was. And I've had a few auditions for different things, but I've since had quite literally one job in theatre. Well, performing arts, not theatre. Where's this from? I don't remember where it's from. It's going in the bin. I was in a documentary. I was in a BBC documentary portraying an elite swimmer. So yeah. When was this? This is really hard to figure out. Right, well, we're gonna roll with it. I was in a BBC Panorama documentary. I got that job on my own. You will quite often find that realistically you are finding a lot of your jobs on your own. Oh, this is from when I was training for my first triathlon. Should be training for the second. Am I? Absolutely not. Yeah, I spend a lot of my time on backstage. I don't use Spotlight at the minute because my agent has access to Spotlight, so I'm just assuming that he's putting me forwards for stuff on Spotlight. But my time is basically spent applying to everything possible, regardless of if I seems like I want the job. It's difficult. It's also difficult from the point of view that, so Spotlight is, I want to say £120 a year. More expensive than that. I think I'm on the graduate one. And then backstage is £100 a year. And then I'm on another one called Casting Callback. Like, I've got the free membership on, but of course you can pay for that. This is the only industry in the world where, maybe not the only one in the world, but you have to pay to find the work. I'm on at least 2 different sites. I also use Instagram. I would recommend Instagram if you're starting out. It's got loads of different options on it. But I am on at least 2 different sites, 3 different sites, plus Instagram daily, trying to figure out, you know, any jobs. And I would say I apply to at least, I want to say 5, but just for averages, I apply to at least 3 a day. And like this week, I've not had anything for ages. I went to an audition on Wednesday last week. I've got an audition in London on Monday. And I've had to film 4 self-tapes. But then now I probably won't have anything for like 6 weeks. It's wild. It doesn't make sense how it comes in ebbs and flows. You have to have like stable muggle jobs, like normal jobs. So for me, I'm a gym instructor, I'm a swim teacher. I've just bought my own theatre school back up where my mum lives, just because the opportunity came around. Is this the right one next? This is Turkey. These are all Turkey. These aren't Turkey. That's Turkey. These are Yorkshire. That's singing. That's tote bags. Bonfire night. I went to forest. Why did I go to forest? Oh, they're the same. Half marathon. Also half marathon. Wedding came after that. Oh god, stressful. Right, so that's all holiday. So these are also all holiday, but are they all holiday? These are just all holiday. No, they're not. There's some headshots in the middle. My headshots, I got new headshots last year and they literally arrived bang in the middle of holiday. I also need to print wedding photos. This video is going to be so distracted, sorry. I don't like just sitting and talking, so I try to do something, but in doing something, I get very easily distracted. Oh my god. Headshots. Yeah, so I just bought theatre school. Oh no, these are first. These are very much first. But these are first on the last ones. These come in before my last album. Give me a second. And she's back. I've duplicated a load of photos. And I don't know why. Anyway. Yeah, so I just bought a theatre school because then my mum's lending me the money. We're kind of co-running it. But it then reduces any like financial stress because I know there's constantly income coming in. And I teach already. I teach privately. 2 different dance schools permanently, and then I've covered a third. So you need to be having different sources of income. I also sell some tote bags online. LTW store, please check that out. Oh my god. I'll put a photo of the Etsy shop front and the Instagram here. But it's hard, I'm not gonna lie. It's incredibly difficult. It's an incredibly difficult industry as well because you literally get rejected on a daily basis. Like when I was applying to get my agent, I sent, I want to say about 140 emails. And when I say 2 agents got back to me, one is the agent I have now, and the other one literally just had like sent back and forth 2 emails and then that was that. Like, it makes no sense. It's hard work to get rejected pretty much on a daily basis. If you get rejected, a lot of the time you just get ignored, which I actually personally find easier. I know a rejection email now. The rejection email starts with, "We really appreciate your time." Right, great. No, you don't. Obviously they do. It just feels horrible, and I don't know if that's ever going to feel better. I personally don't think it will. I think I'm always gonna struggle with it, just because weirdly, like, I feel relatively okay if I get rejected at work. It's when I get rejected, like, in my personal life, you know, if someone's like, "Oh no, let's not go out," I'm always a bit like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're not friends." No, Libby, you are friends. People are just busy and have lives. I also feel no one's actually ever said this to me. I've never had the when are you going to get a proper job conversation, but I always feel like I need a proper job. I have a history degree as well, and I'm currently looking at doing my history PhD. And so I constantly feel like everyone around me, my fiance works in basically flight analytics at Luton Airport. I've got 2 friends who are bankers. I've got a friend doing a PhD looking at preventing sickle cell disease in Africa. I've got a friend who's just finished a master's in sports psychology and is hoping to work with dancers. And I'm just like, oh my God. A friend who's a police call handler, history teachers, you know, like, and I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? I literally go to a dance class and run around, which, you know, it's fun. That brings me on, to be fair, my next point is it's expensive because you have to constantly be training. So I do a dance class a week, I try to, and a singing lesson every 2 weeks is my go-to, or more than that if I have an audition. Sometimes it's been less than that because I was poorly for like 2 months. But it's expensive. Like, realistically, you have to spend a lot of time and money training for jobs that you might not get. I did a jazz class last night. I've been so lucky. I live near Kettering, and I've found in Wellingborough, which is a 15-minute drive, an open dance studio, which means I don't have to trek to London, which is so exciting, because before it was like Pineapple, Manor, Dance Works, like, were the only options. So it's definitely cheaper. And I do a class every week, and then once a month I try to go to London and I bash out all my errands on that one day. I was going like every other week, but basically I realised, like, because I was getting like maybe 2 auditions a month in London. Going every other week meant going every week, basically. So now I go once a month, and then I try and then I start again, and then it's not expensive if I have an audition and have to book an extra one, if that makes sense. Not that trains are not. I'm quite lucky that here trains are only £20 return if you get them in advance. But yeah, it's not a cheap job to have. But you've got to love it, and I do love it, and I'm not yet at a point where I don't want to do it. I'm still at a point where I thoroughly enjoy doing it, and I love teaching. I went to a dance show, not last week, the week before, of a school that I teach at, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching the girls perform. So I am passionate. I'm so passionate about what I do, and I want people to love theatre, and I get really weirdly protective over it. Like, people are like, oh no, you're not a fan of Les Mis. I'm like, well, why aren't you a fan of Les Mis? So yeah, it's just about, I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to be passionate, and you have to be willing to put in the hours, put stuff in to have no outcome for a while, essentially. I've just realised how bad my posture is. Like, I'm sat like Quasimodo, set up a bit straighter. Yeah, you have to be happy to not struggle, that's not the right word, because I'd never say I've had to struggle. Where did I put that? There. But to put the work in and not necessarily see the return for a little while. Oh, that is not straight. There we go. Me running my half marathon with my own Charlie's face on the front. Yeah, you have to put the work in, and if you're willing to do that, then you'll be fine. Anyway, I will chat to you next week, guys. Have a lovely week.